appreciate the fact that you provided insight on what that looks like from a voluntary perspective with helping with Black men. Because for me, for quite some time, when I worked in the substance abuse space, most of my clientele were not voluntary. Well, they were voluntary in terms of like coming to program and treatment.
Mhm.
But most of the time, those individuals were either homeless, they literally just got out of prison or jail, or like they had to come in for probation. And so, like, societal standards had to cause them to come seek treatment. Whereas, like, for you, it sounds like your population is voluntarily coming in. Maybe because of the fact that like life has become too hard, or maybe they came at a suggestion of a loved one and whatnot. And so
Mhm.
can you speak to more of what that's like helping clients or just Black men in general who are on the on the search or on the start of their journey of like healing? What does that look like and how can we support that?
Absolutely. I think it looks so different for so many people. I do work in an outpatient setting, and so it is voluntary when they come to therapy or come to counseling. And most of the time, it is the space that they come to when they've gotten to that, like that the precipice of I'm about to give up, right? It's gotten to that point to where they're on the cusp of just throwing in the towel, and this was their last resort to establish some type of hope or some type of understanding that could support them and continuing to live life. And so that I see that a lot. I do see it as well where some folks have gotten support from family to say, you know what, this may be the best direction for you to go at this point. Because maybe they try all that they thought they could try, or whatever the case may be, or utilize all of their resources, so forth and so on. So it looks a lot of different ways. Because when they get here, my main objective is understanding the person, the why, and then how can I establish this safe space for you to continue to come back, right?
Mhm.
For you to know that this is a space where you can feel safe, where you can feel heard, where you can be heard, where you are seen, right? So a lot of the foundational work for me as I'm building rapport with Black men is, okay, cool. Help me understand, what brought you here, but then also I actually ask them, what makes you feel safe? A lot of Black men don't know that. A lot of Black men don't know that. So we go along this journey of finding out what makes you feel safe, because outside of therapy, when you go into the real world, I want you to also know what makes you feel safe, so that when you are making connections outside of this particular relationship, you're also only engaging in the ones where you know you're safe, right? You're not giving time, attention, and energy to relationships that constantly put you in an unsafe position, right? And so we go along this journey of exploring what makes me feel safe, what makes me feel the most comfortable, right? And then what makes me feel like I can be the most authentic version of myself, right? Because that's another aspect of safety. Then we go on this journey of exploring what makes you feel heard. Like, when do you feel most understood,
Mhm.
right? And then what makes me feel seen? What makes me feel like I'm actually being acknowledged and not just tolerated, right? So we go along these journeys together at the beginning, and this is building the foundation of our work before we even get into the therapy of, like, I know why you're here now. Like, these are the things that happen in life that cause you to feel or experience these different things. But now we're building the foundation for how we can actually go along that journey of addressing these things. So for me, it's the foundational questions of what makes you feel safe, what makes you feel heard, what makes you feel seen.
Oh, immediately I think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And for
Mhm.
anybody who's never heard of it or maybe needs a refresher,
Yeah.
we're talking about like those basic needs, like safety is most important. And when we're thinking about safety, we're talking about like personal safety, whether or not you feel like somebody's going to shank you in the middle of the night, or whether or not you feel like you're financially secure and you have enough money to be able to eat and take care of your bills. But what you're talking about is like that emotional safety that a lot of people people overlook.
Mhm.
And it's important for us to establish emotional safety because if I'm not emotionally safe, then I'm not going to be willing to be vulnerable. And
Right.
vulnerability requires trust. And that leads into what I always tell clients too is just like trust requires time and time requires trust.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you're taking that time and being intentional and having them increase their mindfulness in that moment, because it's hard for people to increase mindfulness if they're living from paycheck to paycheck, or if they're
Right.
trying to
Right.
provide, or if they're trying to operate in these gender roles that a lot of Black men are dealing with. Hey, lovely, shout out to you because I know mental and emotional wellness is important to you. If it wasn't, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. But lean in really quickly because I know sometimes it's really hard to create a plan and actually sticking to it. So let's take your mental health to another level. Ever wonder what keeps you from fully executing? Ever wonder how you can build the confidence for decision making? Well, guess what? You're not alone and I'm here to help. So head over to mentalhealthgoals.com for your free mental health plan. It'll give you practical strategies for addressing your current mental health needs. But first, you got to tap in. So head over to mentalhealthgoals.com to receive your free mental health action plan today. Do it right now. Mentalhealthgoals.com. See you soon.